Today, Jewish celebration known as Hanukkah commemorates the rededication during the 2nd century before Christian era of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, where, according to legend, Jews had risen up against the Greek-Syrian oppressor in the Maccabean revolt. Hanukkah, which means dedication in Hebrew, begins on the 25th of Kislev on the Hebrew calendar and usually falls December. Often called the Festival of Lights, the holiday is celebrated with lighting of menorahs, traditional foods, games and gifts. History of Hanukkah. The event that inspired Hanukkah took place in a particularly turbulent phase of Jewish history. The land of Israel came under the control of Antiochus III, the Seleucid king of Syria, who allowed the Jews who lived there to continue practicing their religion. His son, Antiochus IV Epiphanes, proved less benevolent. He outlawed the Jewish religion and ordered the Jews to worship Greek gods. His soldiers descended upon Jerusalem, massacring thousands of people and desecrating the city's holy Second Temple by erecting an altar to Zeus. Did you know? The history of Hanukkah does not appear in the Torah because the events that inspired the holiday occurred after Torah was written. Led by the Jewish priest Mattathiah and his 5 sons, a large-scale rebellion broke out against Antiochus. When Mattathiah died, his son Judah, known as Judah Maccabee, the Hammer, took the helm. Within 2 years, the Jews has successfully driven the Syrians out of Jerusalem. Judah called on his followers to clean the Second Temple, rebuild his altar, and lit the menorah. The Hanukkah miracle. Judah Maccabee and the other Jews who took part in the rededication of the Second Temple witnessed a miracle. Even though there was only enough oil untainted to keep the menorah candles burning for a single night, the flames continued for 8 nights, leaving the time to find a fresh supply. This wonderful event inspired the Jewish sages to proclaim a yearly 8-day festival. Hanukkah Sameach!
Hello everyone, I'm Tina from Association Haggadah here in Sarajevo, and we are very happy to light and celebrate the first candle of Hanukkah together with you IAGP members. Today I decided to talk a little bit about a different tradition that we have here in Bosnia for Hanukkah, and these little delights which are called Hanukkah halva. And this tradition that we have started almost 500 years ago, when the first Sephards came to Bosnia. They saw the recipe from the Muslim women which used to make it for the holidays, and it smelled wonderful throughout the neighborhood. So the Jewish women decided to take the recipe and modified it to fit Hanukkah. And you might be asking, why halva? The reason is that they are made in deep oil, which reminded us of Hanukkah. So we decided to take the recipe and modified it a little bit to fit Hanukkah. So it's very simple to make. You need only 4 basic ingredients: flour, water, oil, and sugar. For everyone who is interested, we have the recipe on our website. So let us light the candles. May this coming year be a lot happier and better than the last one.
Welcome everybody, we are here in Venice. I'm Francesco Trevisan-Geller, working for the Jewish Museum of Venice, and we are now in the square of the Ghetto Nuovo. The ghetto here was founded in 1516, and it is considered one of the first Jewish quarters in Europe. A lot of Jews arrived here from everywhere in the world. The first one were Ashkenazim, and then the Italians, and then the Sephardim. And slowly the ghetto grew and grew, and in 1540 this part was not enough, and it had also the street that was already called the Ghetto Vecchio, the old ghetto that was added especially for the Sephardi group. We work in the Jewish Museum, but at the moment the Jewish Museum it is closed. There is a big restoration going on, and we set up a little temporary museum that we want to show you now. Let's go to the new entrance of the museum. Here we are in the new small temporary museum. Here we have the bookshop, and the entrance of the museum it's right here. We try to set up a small museum to show the people what is Judaism today, what is Judaism in the past, and with a lot of little objects we rebuilt the history of the Jewish Museum of Venice. Here we are an ancient holy ark coming from Vittorio Veneto, a small town not so far from Venice. We set up with the Sifrei. Here a portrait of Joab Vivante, one of the most famous Moel of Venice. And here we start the cycle of the life. We talk about the Milah, we talk about the wedding. Here we set up a kuppah. And then the holidays. It is a small museum, but we try to put everything that is important in the Jewish history. And here, we were talking about the holidays, and so we want to wish you a very, very happy Hanukkah. Chag Hanukkah Sameach lekulam.
Here we are. We're happy to welcome you at the Don Isaac Abravanel Synagogue in Paris, El Cal Grande de los Sephardim in Paris, which was founded by the Sephardic community of Paris 70 years ago. Up to now, It has been a stronghold of the Judeo-Spanish community, and some prayers are still sung in Ladino for Shabbatot. Aquí estamos, are a Sephardic association created 22 years ago to light up, keep alive, and maintain the Ladino culture and language, and to pass it on to the young generation. There are now more than 500 members of us.
We give classes of Ladino, different kinds of workshops like cooking for borrecas, bizcochos, fritadas, and we give lectures with historians and writers. We have a choir, and we set up public concert and a Ladino summer school. And last but not least, we have a quarterly magazine, Caminando y Hablando.
Ocho candelas para mí, Hanukkah linda está aquí, ocho candelas para mí. Oh, una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para mí. We wish you a very warm Hanukkah con salud buena y con vida. Hanukkah Sameach.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candelas para mí.
Welcome to Casale. You're here. I'm proud to introduce to you one of the most beautiful synagogues in Europe. Dates back to 1595 and has been restored 51 years ago. We have many, many visitors, and we'll be glad to have you when you come to Italy. Casale Monferrato is a small city, and it was the second congregation of Piedmont once upon a time. Today there are only a few Jews left in Casale. We are very active culturally. We have conferences, many visitors, and we are happy to say that we are one of the highlights of the city. Our museums are the most visited in the province. One with the highest number of visitors. We are dealing with schools, and we are happy we are open to all the religions. The two bas-reliefs are 16th century. One is Jerusalem with King Solomon's temple. The other one is Hebron with the patriarch's tombs. They seem in bronze, but they are in stucco. The Arona Kodesh is a walk-in Arona Kodesh, while the balcony is for the choir, and it's a late 18th century addition. Beautiful is the ceiling, and gorgeous are the carved gates that decorate the windows of the women's sections. Here we are in the basement of the synagogue where we have the 15th century oven for matzot. Here is housed the exposition, the Museum of Lights. There are Hanukkah from very famous artists, Jews and Gentiles, Italian and foreigners, who created for us these pieces. The exposition has been traveled all over Europe and in many, many cities in Italy. It's a very important exposition, and constant are the requests to take part of this with donations of lamps from very, very famous artists. I want a happy Hanukkah from Casale Monferrato, and we hope to see you soon.
Hello, happy Hanukkah, Chag Sameach. I am Nissim Ben-Joya. I am the coordinator of Izmir Jewish Cultural Heritage Projects on behalf of the Izmir Jewish Community Foundation. I am very happy that we are celebrating this Hanukkah together on the internet all over Europe. We are right now at the Talmud Torah synagogue, a synagogue that dates back to 17th century and is located in the middle, at the center of the old Jewish quarter. A very important synagogue that collapsed on 1991, and since then it stayed untouched, entered the process of deterioration until 3 months ago. And we, as the Izmir Jewish Community Foundation, we have engaged in a rescue work of this synagogue, and this is what we got to do. This synagogue is at the center of a compound of 6 synagogues, of which 4 of them are built wall to wall with a narrow path between them on which we can walk, and it inspires a very, very magnificent atmosphere. Let me take you for a small tour in the old Jewish quarter of Izmir. This is Al-Ghazi Synagogue, built by Al-Ghazi, a dynasty actually, a family of rabbis and hazans. Most famous family members are Shmuel Al-Ghazi, the great rabbi in the 1600s, and the rabbi and musician Yitzhak Al-Ghazi. And actually, this is a center for music. The relations that Yitzhak Al-Ghazi held with the surrounding musicians, religious musicians, Muslim musicians, is worth researching, because they make a part of living together here in Izmir through music. We have come to Shalom Synagogue, or Neve Shalom as it was called before then. This is the synagogue of the first chief rabbi of Izmir, Yosef Eskapa. He has been Izmir's chief rabbi in the beginning of the 17th century, by 1630s, 40s. And this man was the teacher of Shabtai Tzvi, who probably sat here and learned Torah. We reached Etz Chaim Synagogue, a synagogue which is supposed to be maybe the oldest one from the times of Roman Empire. This synagogue is in process of restoration. You can notice it. It's in a working process, and it will be beautiful. We are doing a great preservation job here with the help of Kiryati Foundation. I would like to remind you that every year in Hanukkah, except this year because of the pandemic situation, there is a Izmir Sephardic Culture Festival going on in these streets, around those synagogues and in these synagogues, including lectures, music, film, etc., etc.
Dear friends,
I'm happy to have celebrated this Hanukkah together with you all. I hope that soon you will have the opportunity to enjoy our heritage here in Izmir together with us. I send you our warmest Hanukkah wishes on behalf of all Izmir Jewish community. In the meanwhile, please take good care of yourselves. We love you all. Hag Hanukkah Sameach.
Good evening. Welcome to the Padua Heritage Museum. We are in the former Ashkenazi synagogue, which is located in the middle of the ghetto of Padua, which was opened in 1603. The synagogue was created at the end of the 16th century on top of the yeshiva where Yehuda Mintz and Meir Katzenellenbogen used to teach. The museum was made with a great effort from the community, which is made only of less than 200 people. It hosts vestments from the synagogue, some realia from the years of the war and the Holocaust, and mainly vestments from the synagogue, plus 2 video installations, one 15-minute on the history of the Jews in Padua, and one on 10 important people from the history of the Jews, which come to life from the walls of the synagogue, from the former women's lodges, and talk about the life of the Jews at their times. At present, we are also hosting an exhibition of Hanukkah coming from the Museum of Casale Monferrato. Padua Jewish history as a long story, goes back to the end of 13th century, and one of the most important events in Padua was the fact that the university opened its doors to the Jews who came to study medicine and philosophy from all over the world, apart from studying, obviously, in the yeshiva. There are 5 cemeteries in Padua, one going back to the 19th century, which is the one we use, plus 4 very old ones where Meir Katzenellenbogen, Shadal, and other important people are buried. As I said, there are very few Jews in Padua, but we try to keep the museum very alive. And as you can see, lots of very interesting items are in exhibition, are exhibited. There was a very interesting institution in Padua, the first rabbinic boarding school, where people came from all over the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The rabbinic boarding school was enclosed and moved to Rome. To sum up and to finish, I would like to talk about this Aron HaKodesh, which is actually a painted photograph, an illuminated photograph, because the Aron HaKodesh was sent to Israel, and it is in the Yad Eliyahu Yeshiva in Tel Aviv. Hag Hanukkah Sameach to you all.
Welcome, dear friends, from the ancient medieval Jewish quarter of Girona. We greet you from this magnificent place, the patio of the Museum of Jewish History of town. In a day like this patio normally will be crowded, full of people celebrating Hanukkah. Unfortunately, this year it doesn't happen. We have to do it online, we have to do it virtually, but anyhow, it's very beautiful and we are very glad to share with all of you. If you want to know more about the place, the institution, the museum, and so on, please go to our website and have a look on it. We like to join all our friends. And more than that, we invite you to come and visit us once this pandemic situation will be over or will come to an end. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jugimayans in his quality of two different hats. On one side, as Vice Mayor of Girona, and also responsible for this institution, the Patronat de Girona, and on the other hand, as Vice President of the AAPJ institution. Please, Mr. Jugimayans, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, it's an honor for me to participate in this collective Hanukkah festival. Special this year, complicated and difficult as it is. I'm very happy to share it from Girona with all of you. Special greetings to our colleagues from Sarajevo, Venezia, Paris, Casal de Monferrato, Izmir, Padova, Tel Aviv and Barcelona. As the Hanukkah light has traveled from one end to the other along the Mediterranean Sea, I wish that wisdom and safety will come along in the very near future for all of us. Allow me to continue in Catalan. Deixeu-me dir un parell de coses sobre el projecte de recuperació del barri jueu de la ciutat de Girona. El Patronat del Cant Jueu fou creat l'any 1992 amb l'objectiu de recuperar el patrimoni jueu relegat a l'oblit durant segles. Fruit d'aquesta tasca, avui podem gaudir d'un magnífic equipament que inclou, entre d'altres, el Museu d'Història dels Jueus i l'Institut d'Estudis d'Armènides, i que avui és ja un patrimoni inseparable de la nostra ciutat. És en aquest escenari, al bell mig d'aquest equipament, que ens unim a aquesta celebració del Hanukkah. Des del cor de la ciutat de Girona, des del bell mig del barri jueu, compartim aquesta vivència i encenem la setena espelma d'aquesta bonica Hanukkah. No se'ns escapa el significat cabalístic d'aquest simbolisme, perquè som una ciutat que té l'honor de portar el títol de Ciutat Mare d'Israel. Una ciutat que va veure néixer en el seu si un bon nombre de personatges il·lustres, i entre els quals vull destacar la figura de Moshe ben Nachman. Reconèixer i compartir el respecte per la diversitat cultural, connectar l'educació i la cultura, aprofundir en les polítiques educatives i culturals i que ens acostin al coneixement de l'altre han estat sempre un dels motors que ens han estimulat. I per aquesta celebració resulta que compartim avui és un magnífic exemple del que podem fer tots plegats. Us encoratjo a seguir treballant en aquesta recuperació, tot agraint-vos profundament la tasca que esteu realitzant arreu d'Europa, en benefici d'una societat més culta i més justa. I acabo desitjant-vos un feliç Hanukkah, que la pugueu gaudir amb salut. Chag Hanukkah Sameach.
Bones festes!
Hi, my name is Jack Gottlieb, and I'm the CEO of World Jewish Travel. And whenever I travel and I go to a city, I always come to the Jewish Museum first. And now that we're in Tel Aviv, I want to tell you what is the best museum in Tel Aviv, and that's the Museum of the Jewish People. And lucky for us, on this day of Hanukkah, we have Dan Tadmor, the CEO of the museum, who's going to explain to us a little bit about what the mission of the museum is.
Thank you, Jack. Welcome to the Museum of the Jewish People. That is a place that is dedicated to pluralistic, inclusive Jewish identity. And the mission is very simple: strengthening a sense of belonging to the Jewish people.
Well, now that we've lit the candles for Hanukkah, we can tell you what we eat at Hanukkah. And what we is, in the case of Sephardim, Sephardim eats spinach. And if you take a look over here, spinach are fried donuts, that I just picked up this morning at Sugar Parnell. It's one of our many markets. And I'm going to turn this over to Don, and Don's going to tell you about the importance of food as a reflection of one's heritage.
Shalom, welcome to the Museum of the Jewish People, a place that is devoted to Jewish identity in all its facets. Our newest project is Foodish. It's a project that is all about Jewish food, recipes, traditions, and stories. And of course, the story of Sphinge is just one of many, many traditions, in this case, a Sephardic tradition of Jewish cuisine and cooking.
Great, so thank you very much, Don. And why don't you come with us? And we're gonna go see a few exhibits. Come with us.
What's more Sephardic than a synagogue in Sfarad? So this is our reconstruction of an existing synagogue in Toledo, Spain. It was founded in 1357 by Shmuel Levi Abulafia, and it is today once again a synagogue. And now I want to show you something that no one has seen before. We're standing in the new permanent exhibition of the Museum of the Jewish People. Despite Corona, we'll be ready in December. This specific area is devoted to the Golden Age in Spain, in Sfarad. And these are illuminated manuscripts from that era.
That was great, Dan. That was amazing. We had two great examples of Sephardic heritage. And what I'd like to do for World Jewish Travel, I want to congratulate you, and I want to wish everybody a Chag Sameach. And Dan, I'm sure you want to do the same.
Toda rabba, Chag Sameach. And now I'd like to introduce the head of our European desk, Enya Kupfer-Zeevi, who also want to say Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, Bon Hanukkah.